Hi, and welcome to Cleo's Archive. I'm Caroline, but today you're going to know me as Cleo, your muse of history. One of the tales seen time and again throughout myth and legend are magical beings living in bodies of water, with their irresistible charms luring in humans, or choosing to bestow either their goodwill or their vengeance upon whoever kind of looks at them cross-eyed. Variations of these beings have left their mark on myth and legend, and today we'll be covering the Selkie. One of the lesser-known myths, Selkies, don't often appear in our media, but when they do, it is top-tier content. Song of the Sea, the Magic Treehouse series Kathleen, Kiss of the Siren, which is a Little Mermaid telling, in case you're curious. They're often overlooked and overshadowed by their very murderous cousin, the mermaid, which, also great. It looks like this rather docile and sweet creature is starting to get its moment in the sun, I hope. Found most commonly in Irish, Scottish, and Norse mythology, the Selkie is a shapeshifter born to the sea. The ocean is their true home, where they live as seals. When they travel out of the ocean, and how often they do that can vary depending on the story, they shed their skin, and it becomes their biggest vulnerability. They have irresistible charms to the ordinary human, and there is a tale or two of them choosing to stay on land, but the sea always calls them home. That is, unless someone has stolen their skin. The story is almost akin to a genie and its lamp. Humans would steal a Selkie skin and hide it, and the Selkie would be bound to the person who possessed it until the day they could track it down. In Irish mythology, there's a tale of a Teddy Rua O'Dow, again, I'm so sorry if I'm mispronouncing things, who had to find a bride because he was becoming chieftain of his clan, but he was struggling to pick. None of the women were up to his standards. He was walking the beach to clear his mind when he stumbled across a naked woman combing her hair. We can definitely read into the levels of the messed upness of what he did next, but I honestly think that would be an entire video, so I'm just gonna digress. Because it's an old myth, like what do we literally expect? Honestly, could happen today, what am I talking about? Teddy saw the beautiful cloak lying on the ground next to her, which happened to be her shed skin. I think he knew that. So he scooped it up, and from that point, the Selkie, who was named Eve, was trapped. He hid the skin, and she was trapped with him. He basically broke her down. She had no choice but to stay with him, and so she eventually married him, and they ruled the lands together. After years, one of the children saw Teddy checking on the cloak. That child went to Eve and told him he saw a bag of gold, is what he told Eve he saw. It must have been like a really cool seal skin for it to look like gold to the child. I really don't know like what she decked out her skin with. She must have been like bejeweled. Kid led Eve back to it. She took it. Once the Selkie has their skin back, they have no choice. The pull of the ocean is too strong. And so Eve had the skin and she was going back to the ocean. No matter what ties they have to land. Family, love, children, nothing. Once a Selkie has their skin back, the pull to the ocean is too strong and they must go back. But Eve took all of her children with her, but she couldn't turn them all into Selkies. She was able to turn 2 into Selkies, and the other 5 she turned into rocks. This is just my perspective of the story, but if she would rather turn 5 of her children into rocks than leave them with Teddy, I feel like she loved them very much if she wanted them out of his reach that badly. He was a man who took consent completely away from her. I would gather he wasn't kind, and he was definitely very selfish. We gathered that from the beginning. And in this universe where Selkies exist, I would just like to hypothetically imagine that a rock could somehow have a life and exist with a being, So, I don't think she killed them so much as gave them a different life from an abusive father. That's my take on the story, honestly. So the Faroe Islands also has its own variation of the Selkie myth. I'm gonna have to read this, I'm so sorry. The Kopakonan. In this version, when humans died in the sea, they became seals, and one night a year they were allowed to retake human form and enjoy themselves on the beach. A young farmer journeyed to the beach one night to see if the tale was true, and sure enough, the Selkies emerged from the waters. He saw a woman who he thought was beautiful. I mean, she was a freaking Selkie. And what do you know, he stole her skin. So despite her begging and pleading, he made her go with him. He wouldn't give the skin back. So she went with him and broke down, married him, and had children. It's a very similar story. He kept her skin locked away safely for years until one day he went on a fishing trip and realized he forgot the key on his belt. And that was the night she escaped. Years later, the men of the village went seal hunting, and the farmer's wife appeared to him in a dream, asking him not to kill a particular bull seal and 2 cubs, because they were now her seal family. He ignored her, and the men of the village killed indiscriminately. That night, the Selkie women appeared and cursed the men of the village to either fall from the cliffs or drown in the sea. The curse could only be lifted when the dead can link hands around the edge of the island. So there's now a statue of Kopakonan on Kalsoy Island in the village of Kaldalore, one of the islands in the Faroe Islands. And I really want to go see that one day. The origin of the Selkie myth is believed to be really Scottish settlers coming into contact with Finnish and Sami peoples. They would travel the waters wearing animal skins, like seal, because it was waterproof. Some believe there might have been confusion when they pulled up in their kayaks and take off their coats, and, you know, symbolizes the Selkies coming up out of the water and shedding their skins. I mean, it sounds far-fetched to me, but at the same time, there was a point in history where if women could float in water, we were literally believed to be witches. So it actually makes a lot of sense. It really does, actually. Male Selkies are not seen as often in myth. However, it is said that a human woman could summon one to shore by putting 7 of her tears into the ocean. And from what I can tell, they had their skins stolen as 2 and were made male brides and consent stolen, all that nasty stuff. Selkies were incredible docile creatures, having their wills stripped away so many times they never resorted to hurting their captors. The time we see a Selkie resort to anything considered violence, she'd already returned home, and her whole family was killed, plus a lot of other people she probably already knew got hurt. Even then, she didn't directly hurt anyone so much as curse them. So it's kind of up to fate at that point, like not so much her fault. Whatever your take is on Selkies, I highly recommend taking a look around for yourself. There are so many fascinating tales on these beautiful creatures from the sea. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video, and if you did, please leave a like and subscribe and hit the bell. And don't forget to let me know down in the comments what myth, legend, or folklore you would like me to cover next time. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see y'all in the next video. Bye!